go to Jeremiah Wegner. He's a student at Columbia University. He says he's leaning towards supporting you, Governor Johnson, unless a Republican somehow replaces Trump at the convention. I'd love to know how you think that's going to happen, by the way, but we'll talk after the town hall. What's your question?
Thanks, Chris. So, as a previously enlisted Army Ranger who's deployed to the Middle East 6 times, I've seen firsthand the epic, wasteful amount of spending done in our global war on terror. I understand that if elected, Governor, your plan is to reduce the federal budget by 20% across all departments. So my question is, how do you balance maintaining the world's most dominant military force while attempting to eliminate wasteful spending?
You want to crack at that one?
Sure. I mean, Gary and I personally have never seen a layer of government that I didn't think had 10 or 20% waste in it, and the federal government is no exception to that. So our opening position would be to look for 20% that we could reduce the size of the federal government. As to the military, the baseline position of the Libertarian Party is an invincible defense, and an invincible defense includes projection of military supremacy, both air and naval, around the world, because people around the world really do pay attention. It does not encompass interventionism, boots on the ground, American blood on foreign soil. And I was a little surprised this week to see 51 State Department diplomats say, we want a bomb to force regime change in Syria. You know, regime change. I say to myself, that sounds familiar. It takes a lot of boots on the ground to effectuate regime change if you want to make sure it sticks. So, you know, what you would have is a pair of skeptics when people come and say, we should intervene here on the ground because these people are being mean to each other and we can't stand that. That's not going to sell as a matter of first impression.
So let's unpack this a little bit, Governor, because it's one thing to say we have to be the best equipped military in the world, and there's very little debate that good men like Jeremiah are the best fighters in the world. The question is how you use them. Syria, Governor Weld brought up. Do you believe that there should be U.S. military intervention in Syria, given the context, which is, without U.S. help, it does not seem that they can get it done?
No, there should not have been military intervention in Syria, and it has had the unintended consequence of actually growing ISIS. Speaking earlier about the Pentagon itself says that we could reduce bases in the United States by 20%. That's coming from the Pentagon. But you don't have Congress that goes along with that because, of course, that's bases in home states, and that's what Congress does, is protect their own interests.
Libertarians are seen as isolationists. You started off tonight by saying, we're going to redefine that, we're going to help you understand it, because that's not true. But where do you then see a role for U.S. military in the world on all the various theaters right now where we're involved?
If we are attacked, we're going to attack back. And you can certainly argue that we have been attacked by ISIS, but let's involve Congress also in this process, something that Congress has abdicated to the president and to the military, and that we do find ourselves in these conflicts without an open debate and discussion on how we should move forward. But if we're obligated to defend borders in other countries that have not been negotiated through Congress either.
Understood, but just one follow on that. If you believe that the United States should use military force to respond when attacked, and you say constructively we have been attacked by ISIS, then how can you not be involved in Syria, which is obviously a big swath of the Levant where ISIS has its stronghold? How do you stay out of there?
Well, because of our intervention, ISIS has grown as a result. I mean, you had Assad against ISIS, and now you take out, or we've decided to go against Assad, and that's ISIS. So that's now our new ally.
Governors, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have more questions from the audience here in the Libertarian CNN Town Hall.